Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video my mom is making a beautiful textured sea-themed resin wall clock. She'll be adding her resin piece into this frame, and the first thing that she does is gets her mold ready. It's a new mold, so she's unpacking it and making sure that it's clean. Even new molds can come with dust particles or fibers, so she's using some tape to easily pick up any of those pieces. Now she's getting her resin ready, and she's using craft resin. Craft resin is a 1-to-1 ratio by volume, so to easily mix in her resin, she has 2 large Greek yogurt cups and pours the part A into one and the part B into the other, making sure that they're equal amounts. Then she empties each cup into this large container. She uses a wooden stick to make sure that she scrapes everything out. And she'll be adding just a little bit more, so again she pours in the A and B, making sure that she has equal amounts of both. Then she mixes the 2 parts together thoroughly, and to really be sure that you've mixed it well, you can mix for around 5 minutes. And until you no longer see any streaks in your resin and everything is looking crystal clear. Once she's sure that her resin is mixed in good, she separates it into smaller cups to add in her pigments. I'll have a discount code for craft resin linked in my description, so if you're interested in giving them a try, be sure to check that out. I'll also have all the products that you see in this video listed in my description as well. For her pigments, she's going to be using a variety of alcohol inks, and this will give her piece a very beautiful transparent look. The first shade of alcohol ink she's using is in the shade Coffee. She adds in a few drops and mixes that in well. She's also mindful not to add too many drops to achieve that transparent look. Her next alcohol ink is in the shade Mango. Followed by an alcohol ink in the shade Clover. And lastly, she uses a teal alcohol ink. She continues mixing and adds in more drops where she finds it to be necessary. Now that that's all ready to go, she takes her coffee pigmented resin and starts to pour into the bottom of the mold. Then she takes her mango pigmented resin and pours right above that. Next, she pours her clover pigmented resin, and then her teal pigmented resin. And she continues pouring until she fills in the whole area of the mold and uses up all of the resin in her cups. She takes the little amount that she has left of the teal pigmented resin and adds in 1 more drop of the alcohol ink to achieve a slightly darker shade and pours that near the top of the mold. Then she uses a mixing stick to help blend the colors together. She uses a torch gun to pop any air bubbles, and whenever you're using a torch gun, you want to pay attention to move it very quickly so that you don't burn your resin or your molds. And she uses a wooden stick to pick out any imperfections that have gotten into her resins, such as little dust pieces. She continues blending in her colors and pours into some coaster molds with her leftover resin. She needs to leave a blank area into the center of this piece to fit into the clock frame that we showed at the beginning of this video, and instead of having to do all of the work of drilling a big hole into the center, she places in a small craft resin bottle. And she uses measuring tape to make sure that it's centered. She allows that layer to harden and comes back the next day. She'll be adding one more layer of resin, so she mixes in her craft resin once more, and again uses all of the same alcohol inks that she used on the first layer. So she mixes that all in and prepares for her pour. Then she pours all of her pigmented resins into the mold in the same order as before. This time around, her resin is more transparent, so she added fewer drops of the alcohol inks into each cup, so she doesn't have to do so much blending. Again, she uses a torch gun to get rid of any air bubbles. Now she takes a flexible vinyl sheet, and this is sort of similar to a thick plastic wrap, and all she does is places it on top of her resin. She uses her fingers to scrunch it up and create texture. It tends to move around a bit, so to make sure that everything stays put, she's placing on some rocks on top. And this extra weight will really ensure that the vinyl stays as is and creates this really cool textured look. She allows that to harden and comes back the next day. The first thing she does is removes all of the rocks. Then she removes her vinyl sheet. And now she's able to demold. And with a little bit of strength, the resin bottle comes right out from the center. She takes her piece outside on this gloomy day to remove some of the lifted edges using an X-Acto knife. And she does the same for the center. She's tracing out the size that the center needs to be in order to fit into the clock frame and mechanism, and then uses a heat gun to heat up that area. Applying this much heat will cause the resin to soften and make it easier to carve into. Again, using the X-Acto knife, she scrapes off the edges in the center until it can fit into the clock frame. Once it fits nicely into the frame, she takes Duppont's epoxy rapid glue to bind the two together. This is some strong stuff and has a working time of 5 minutes, so you do need to be quick while working with it. She applies it onto the frame and then adds her resin piece on top. Her clock mechanism is in the centerpiece already, and here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.